Welcome back to another episode of Mother Baby Ness, a photography podcast. Today's episode is a little bit of a special one, isn't it? Because it's a Podcasthon episode.
It is dedicated to EDS UK.
Mother, baby and us.
So we decided to do our Podcasthon episode with EDS UK to raise money for them because I have EDS. It's something that affects our business and my life day to day. So we wanted to kind of have a chat about it, talk about how it affects us,
Yep.
how it affects me, and the fact that not a lot of people know what it is. And
Yeah, we know what it is because we live the daily, don't we? But
Yeah.
not everybody knows. It's quite a rare thing. So
I mean, I don't think it is rare. I just think it's very underdiagnosed.
yeah, probably.
It is classed as a rare disease, I think is disorder. I don't know. I don't know the difference between these disorders and diseases and syndromes and everything else. But yeah, it is classed as a rare one, but I just think it's underdiagnosed myself. There's no medical proof of, that's my opinion. Anyway,
Yeah, no fact in that. All Abigail's opinion.
however, facts. What is Ehlers Danlos? Now, I've got these in front of me, notes in front of me, because I don't want to get the facts wrong. And also, I don't want to miss vital information out. So I will be reading
Bits and pieces. Yeah.
because I don't want to get it wrong. So EDS stands for Ehlers Danlos No, it doesn't syndrome.
It's not a syndrome.
So EDS stands for Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, and it is a group of connective tissue disorders that affect the body's collagen, which provides strength and flexibility to skin, joints, and blood vessels. There are 13 different types of EDS.
That's mad.
Yeah, with the most common being hypermobile EDS, which is what
Yeah.
I have, HEDS. Common symptoms include joint hypermobility, over-flexible joints that dislocate easily, chronic pain, fragile skin, poor wound healing, and extreme fatigue, which I have all of. Tick, full marks. EDS is genetic, meaning it is inherited, caused by mutations in specific genes affecting connective tissue. I have all the bad genes in my family.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think I had any of the good ones.
No, I mean, I've got quite a few of the bad ones, but not as many as you.
No, I just hit the gene lottery. It's often called an invisible illness, as symptoms can be debilitating but may not always be outwardly visible. There is no cure, but symptoms can be managed through physiotherapy, pain management, and lifestyle adaptations. I guarantee physiotherapy does zero for me, because every time I've gone, they've gone, there's no hope. So, I mean, great if it is though. But yeah, that is what EDS is.
Yeah.
I've suffered with symptoms of EDS since I was in my teens, but doctors just kept telling me it was like growing pains, and I just fobbed it off as a million other things other than looking into EDS, and I don't really know why. But now we've heard of a lot more children getting diagnosed, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like, if I ever mention EDS to anybody, they're like, oh, so-and-so's kid have been diagnosed with that recently.
Which is like teenagers, isn't it?
Yeah, which is great. Not great, because it's horrible that they've got it, but it's great that they're getting diagnosed so early, and they can learn ways to help early. Because I think not a lot of my issues, but it would have been helped if I had stayed in dance class, because it would have kept the strength up in my muscles, and I wouldn't have been able to dislocate so easily. And I don't know, just lots of little things that I could have done. Like my insoles, I wear insoles in all my shoes, and I refused to wear them when I got to a certain age because they didn't fit in nice shoes.
Yeah.
So I stopped wearing them, and now my knees and my hips and my ankles and everything is fudged. So knowing that, and perhaps making a different decision younger would have made a massive difference now. So little things like that, they'll be able to make those decisions for themselves, not be told, oh, it's growing pains, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's good that the people are getting diagnosed a lot easier.
And I feel like it's hard to diagnose EDS, isn't it? Because there's are they called zebras? Is that what they refer to them as? Because there's so many random things that are...
No, that's not why it's called zebras. Zebras is because doctors, there's a common phrase when you're doing your doctor degree or whatever, your training is when you hear hooves, look for horses, not zebras, because it's most likely to be the common thing rather than the uncommon thing. So when you hear hooves, it's more likely to be a horse running down the street than a zebra. Yeah. So look for the horse. So look for the common illness that could be causing these issues, not the rare one. So
because this one's rare, that's why it's...
Because it's rare, don't go down the line of EDS, because it's probably not that, so don't bother wasting your time.
Yeah.
So that's why they call it zebras, and everything's zebra print for EDS UK and everything else. But like, no, do look for the zebras. Maybe rule out the rare ones and then look at the common ones. Or just look at them all at the same time. I don't know what the thing is with that. There's also a lot of comorbidities. Is that how you pronounce it? Things that go along with EDS that, like, you're more likely to have. ADHD being one of them. Like,
is that just you putting ADHD with this now? Is this actual fact?
no, that's actual fact.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of people on the EDS groups that are like, I've got it all, and EDS is one of them. ADHD is one of them. But the common trifecta, as I think they call it, the trifecta, is EDS, POTS, and MCAS, which, now, I haven't been diagnosed with POTS and MCAS, but my cardiologist told me, you have all the POTS symptoms, we don't test for POTS, and now I'm discharging you, so that's great.
I feel like that's an easy one to diagnose, isn't it? Is that
Tilt test.
Tilt on the thing.
But the problem was I was already on the medication that they would have put me on anyway, so he was like, you don't need a diagnosis, so I'm not going to give you a diagnosis.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not getting into that whole why we need diagnoses and stuff, because that's a whole different conversation. And MCAS, which again, I can't get in. Immunology is the one who has to diagnose that. I'm under a dermatologist who's gone, you've probably got MCAS, but I can't diagnose it. You need to go to an immunologist, and there isn't one in Wales.
Well,
There isn't a team in Wales that they can refer me through. So they've now put me on NHS England waiting list to see if they can see me, because there's just nobody that can see me.
madness.
So those two are, the POTS one is an autonomic nervous system condition which controls involuntary bodily functions like heart rate and blood pressure. Like, we all know the issues I have with my heart, why I can't have coffee anymore, which is really upsetting. Rapid heart rate increase upon standing, dizziness, lightheadedness, brain fog, fatigue and fainting. Weak connective tissue can affect blood vessels, leading to poor circulation and blood pooling in the legs, causing symptoms. That's how EDS causes POTS.
Yeah. And why you've always got freezing cold fingers.
Yeah, like, look at the colour of my answer right now. I'm not going to do it. Anyway, and then MCAS is mast cell activation syndrome, which mast cell is a type of immune cell which overreacts, releasing too many inflammatory chemicals, histamines and others. Key symptoms are flushing, itching, rashes, hives, swelling, anaphylaxis-like reactions, digestive issues, brain fog, sensitivities to food, scents or temperature changes. Like, all of the above since I was very young, like very, very young. Connecting to that to EDS is mast cells are found in connective tissue, and dysregulated mast cell activity is more common with people with EDS. The kind of impact it can have on daily life is sudden allergic type reactions, can be unpredictable, and environmental triggers, e.g. perfumes, can make working in public spaces difficult.
You were perfume allergies, like...
I could be walking through a random room and somebody will walk past me that have put perfume on like an hour ago, and I'll have a tiny little waft and I will just start sneezing instantly. Yeah. I mean, there's others that we could go on, like, for all these ones that are connected, but like, they were the main trifecta, and they're the ones that affect me and therefore us on the daily. This has given me why these matter for a photography business.
Oh, okay.
This is nice. Physical limitations. Carrying gear, standing for long periods and repetitive movements can worsen symptoms. It definitely can.
Yeah.
Unpredictability. Flare-ups from pain, fatigue or allergic reactions can disrupt schedules. And work environment challenges. Sensitive to heat, cold, bright lights, strong scents can make some photography settings challenging, which are all very key points. Like, every day's a struggle.
I think, though, like, it does affect our business, and we do, like, in ways that some people wouldn't even think about. So walking long distances is the biggest one, I think. Because,
so if we're working on location, it has to be an accessible location.
It does, yeah, absolutely. We'll always do a recce of a location. And I suppose it's kind of a good thing in a way, like, take the positive out of it, because our clients are pregnant, so we know...
we don't want them trekking, like...
Yeah, so if you can get there, then we know it's fine for a pregnant person to be able to get there.
Set the bench low.
And things like the weight of what we carry, like... we keep equipment to a minimum. So
we had this conversation yesterday, didn't we, about like, I should really be taking 2 camera bodies everywhere just in case one fails.
But it's the weight, no.
It's going to come back and bite me on the backside now, though, because I've said it out loud.
There's photographers that take loads of equipment. They take, multiple lights and diffusers and everything else with them, and that would be wonderful, but we haven't got that luxury. But we've made it work for us, haven't we? We can do the amazing, bougie, fabulous.
We make sure we can get the look we want to create with the minimal amount of equipment and the smallest and the easiest equipment we can find. So our lighting is tiny but still really powerful. But our softbox pops up and it's nice and big and does what it needs to do. We've worked around it. We found companies and brands that can help us achieve what we still want to achieve, but in a easier way for us, so that it's more manageable and accessible.
And then in the studio, obviously we've got temperature control for the babies, but it works out that you don't touch babies because you're freezing cold fingers.
It doesn't matter what the temperature is. I'm either freezing cold or absolutely melting, like sweating.
So you tend to not, I do the posing of the babies, don't I? So that you don't have to touch them for bare minimum amount, just to stop that kind of startle when your freezing cold hands go on them. And we've just worked around all the different things. I'm actually probably the biggest the thing that affects us the most in the business is probably the hospital appointments.
And flare-ups. When I'm that time that I had to be in the hospital for a full week on a monitor. I went in through A&E, so that took forever anyway, and then they needed me for a week to be on a monitor for my heart, and it was just oh my god, this is it was killing me. I was emailing people from my bed when I was I can't not do work. Which is probably not great for the heart monitor because I was stressed in bed, but it was the worst week ever.
And then having to kind of rearrange with clients and stuff because you're in hospital. But to be fair,
touch wood, I've not been in hospital for over a year.
I know, it's usually a yearly occurrence.
Look how good I'm managing everything at the moment. It takes a lot of management.
And we have worked out the right balance, I think. So how much that we can actually book in, and and our clients, we're not high volume, so we don't see a lot of clients, and the clients that we do have in, we spend a lot of time with them.
We talked about this in the last episode, didn't we? We've done it around the boys and being mothers and everything, but we were also very conscious of the fact we don't want I don't want burnout. I don't want to be. I want to be here as much as possible.
And because they spend that much time with us, they understand that you've got this condition. Then and they ask you a lot of questions about it, don't they? And they get to know us. They are. We call them the Abigail photography family, don't we? So when somebody's booked a session with us, by the end of it, they're part of that family, and they understand the condition. So if something happened and there's a flare up and you're in hospital, I get straight on the phone to them oh yeah, of course, let us know when she's back and we'll come in then. And to be fair,
they're all really understanding.
Nobody's ever kind of
very lovely customers.
Yeah, definitely.
So it is hard work to run a business, and a successful business around a disability, because you don't want the disability to be for the first thing everyone thinks of. That's a disabled photographer. That's not my what's the word I'm looking for? It's brain fog for you. Personality. It's not personality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, your persona.
Kind of. That's not my whole identity. It's not my whole identity, but it is part of me that people do get to know, but I don't want it to be the first thing they think of when they see me.
And I think we may have touched on it now and again in podcast episodes, but we never really talked about it, have we?
No.
We've mentioned it, it's one of those things, isn't it? You've got it, it's not going anywhere. So we talk about it, but
frequently dislocate halfway through a session.
and sometimes it shocks people to know, when you mention it, and they're like, "What do you mean?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, this is what."
Because I don't look disabled.
Yeah.
And Christy does get into arguments with people because I don't look disabled.
I don't look for arguments.
I didn't say you look for it.
But if somebody's going to be rude and say, "You're parking in a disabled bay, are you disabled?" I'm going to tell them, "Excuse me, are you disabled? What are you who are you to
Are you the
police
disabled
it?"
police?
Yeah. Don't be over here trying to, monitor who's parking in these spaces. Riles me right up, that does.
I have noticed.
And also, which airport were we in? Was it France? Was it the Paris airport? Now, I understand from old people, but I've just learned to accept it from old people. Old people are going to question you. If you're going to park in the disabled bay, they think it's old people bays, and why are you parking in there, right? So I've come to understand that. But when a member of staff in the Paris airport turned around and went, "Well, you don't look disabled."
And then when the flight got cancelled, and I said, "How far have I got to walk? Because I don't think I can walk that far." And she went, "Just walk."
in your face.
Yeah, screamed it in my face.
After a very, very long day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, there's a long way for a lot of people to come, I think, with that kind of thing, especially when you're...
I mean, I didn't wear... I wasn't wearing, like, a hidden disability lanyard or anything like that, but I don't feel like I should have to.
No. Yeah.
I feel like people think there's a lot more people faking disabilities than there is. Like, you're always going to get the odd, or one or two that just are going to try and thing the system, but perhaps try and just believe people.
Well, when a young person turns around and tells you they're disabled, they're not doing that for anything other than the fact that they need help with something. Yeah. Like, they're not...
Because I'm lazy. Like, I know, like, a lot of people think I'm lazy, but I'm really not lazy.
I mean, our boys do take full advantage of it when we go, like, somewhere that's got a lot of walking and you end up on your mobility scooter. The boys love it, don't they?
Yeah.
Especially when it's one of the ones that's got, like, a really wide seat so they can jump on it with you.
Yeah. But anyway, it is what it is. People don't believe you sometimes, or because you don't look disabled, they question it, but I feel like it's getting better.
It is, yeah.
So this episode is dedicated to raising money for EDS UK. They are the main Ehlers Danlos charity in the UK. I'm going to read you a little bit about EDS because they do a lot of good in the UK, namely getting, at the moment, like a framework out to GPs for GPs to be able to diagnose in surgeries rather than have to be like sent off to all these different people.
Well, that would make a massive difference.
There's a framework, like they've done it, they've got it, they've all got it now. So GPs are now being able to diagnose in GP surgeries, which is going to make a massive difference to a lot of people's lives. And that was because of them campaigning. So I'll read you a little bit about EDS UK and what they do. So our vision, across the UK, people with EDS or HSD, which is hypermobility spectrum disorders, will be connected, heard, supported, and have why can't I say this word? Equitable access to care. We are the voice of the EDS HSD community in the UK. We bring together people with EDS HSD in the UK to equitably access diagnosis, treatment, and care. We do this through awareness, support, and knowledge. They do an awful lot for EDS in the UK, and I would be very grateful if people donated in our name to them. Well, not even in our name, just donate to them. I don't really care if you do it in our name or not. But yeah, if you have found EDS UK through us, just let them know. That would be nice. Yeah. And yeah,
we'll pop the links and...
Yeah, there'll be a Podcasthon link and an EDS UK link below. If you want to know any more information about EDS, just pop off to their website. And...
Or if you want to ask us like questions on you know, living with a... something that's going to affect your business, so if you've got a disability or...
Yeah, it doesn't have to be EDS.
No, any kind of disability, and just want to know kind of how we work things and...
Yeah, things we can do to help. Yeah, leave it in the comments, drop us an email, motherbabyus@gmail.com, and we will help in any way we can.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is our special podcast episode on EDS, and how disability affects our business.
Mother, Baby and Us.